In the last video I did, I was saying how I think the situation we're in is likely to continue for another few years at least, probably for the best part of this decade. That is quite a long ordeal. And the question is, what can we do? What can you do in the meantime? Well, first of all, I'd like to talk about what not to do. And I would divide that into two categories. The first thing is not to boil over. And the second thing is, on the other hand, not to sit and simmer. Now, boiling over, what I mean by that is it is not a virtue simply to get angry about something. This is a kind of social media trait where people make out that the angrier they are about something, the more sincere they are, the more passionate they are, the more wholesome their feelings are about the subject. No, wrong answer. It's normally a sign of something else, usually greed for money or emotional instability. So don't do it. It's likely to get you arrested, or is more likely to get you arrested or fired, and that gets you taken out of the game, which is what the enemy, what the other side want. The tide of opinion, the reality is the tide of opinion isn't with us at the moment. There are an awful lot of dead fish going with the flow, so that any a big, angry, spectacular, heroic action just isn't going to turn that tide. So don't do it. Try not to boil over. There's no point. It just doesn't serve anyone. It gets in the way. The second thing is, don't simply sit and simmer. That is unpleasant. That is horrible. If we have the best part of a decade of this same PC paralysis ahead of us, then the best part of a decade of bottling it up and choking it down is going to be a horrible experience. Don't do that. Don't just be like other people, going along with the tide like a dead fish. That will cause you to lose your sense of integrity, your sense of honour or moral, ethical autonomy, and that's really dangerous. That was my initial motivation for starting to stop mosque applications. It was quite selfish. I was sick of throwing things at the TV and shouting at the radio. I didn't want to do it anymore. I'd rather get in trouble than keep doing that. I felt I was losing my sense of spine and standing in my own eyes. So I thought I want to do something, and I'm glad I did. And if you lose that, again, that is what the other side want. That is what the enemy want. That's how they get you. Governments and propagandists and fraudsters and advertisers, they all know that if they can get you to do something, or if they can get you not to do something that you know you should do, or if they can get you simply to passively not respond or passively swallow lies that they pour over you, then they've taken away your sense of standing, your sense of your own moral authority, which then makes it very difficult for you to feel you have the right to oppose them, to feel that you have that you're in a position to oppose them, or that you're the kind of person who can oppose them. And so that's what they want. So those are two things not to do. And that is, firstly, not to boil over, but on the other hand, not just to sit and simmer. That means it's quite a narrow line to negotiate. So what should you be doing for the next few years? Well, I think there are two things again. The first thing is to find something that you can do that enables you to hold the line in some way. And the second is to keep a clear, cold view on reality. Now, holding the line, all that means is something small that enables you to feel that you are doing your bit. It doesn't have to be spectacular, but just enough to get rid of those feelings of helplessness that make you feel so angry and frustrated from time to time. And people don't have to know about it very much. You can start a simple letter writing campaign and just watch your letters supposedly being ignored. Or you can wipe down tables for an hour a week and give away the money to a Winston Churchill Foundation or some organisation for the preservation of English statues to stop them getting torn down by some BLM mob, or or you could start up an organisation like that. I don't know if there is an organisation. You could start one up yourself and then write letters on behalf of it. No one has to know what you're doing. It doesn't need to be spectacular. You don't need to be praised. To help with people, they don't have to. You don't have to be famous. But the main thing, what you need to do is not give up, not to lose that sense of integrity and the sense of your own honour, because once that's gone, you're no use. You can't help. You're effectively out of the game. Of course, I think that you can't do better than to give a little bit of funding, a small amount of funding, to my work stopping mosque applications. If you do that, the benefit to you is you become part of a cause, part of doing something. And it isn't bad what you're doing. The aim that I set out initially, I think, was pretty good. That was to slow the tide, then stop the tide, and then turn the tide. I think so far we've slowed the tide a little bit, but I think the aim has actually got better than that. My aim now is not so much about being anti-Islamic. I certainly am, but it's deeper than that. It's about being pro-English. This is our own English soil, English territory is the home of the English. It is our own territory. It is our own living room. We are entitled to accept or reject anyone we choose for whatever reason we choose, just like you are allowed to do in your living room. And it's a small piece of territory. It isn't much to ask. It's done a lot of good down the centuries. Now, the second thing, in addition to finding something, some way to hold the line, some way to do your bit, the second thing is to keep a clear view on reality. Just understanding reality, being realistic, that is highly underrated. As well, these days it probably always is highly underrated. It is a good thing to do. It will help you to stay cool, to stay patient. It'll help you to realise you're not going to turn the tide simply by some spectacular demonstration of outrage and anger, and it will also stop you becoming cruel, because cruelty pretty much by definition serves no man, and there's no point being cruel to our enemies. And if you keep a clear head, you'll be able to see that. I think we are going to win in this big ordeal that we're facing. I think we're going to win and prevail easily. The question is whether we sink to the depths of civil conflict that I think some European countries are going to succumb to, which is no good, because that then tarnishes, it trashes the moral authority, the towering moral authority that we have inherited, that we then want to hand down to future generations. And the other thing that thinking clearly does is it helps you to conserve effort. It helps you to be more effective when the time comes. When the tide turns in our favour and the tide of opinion is with us, it then means we can be more effective. For instance, by conserving effort, there is such a thing as strategy, and within that there is such a thing as economy of effort within war. And if you can do that, if you can keep a clear head, and as a result of that, for instance, maintain economy of effort, we are more likely to win. So that's what I think you should do. Find something that enables you to do your bit, to hold the line in some way, and to keep a clear view on reality. And if that has enabled me to give another little plug for my work stopping mosques, then so much the better. Thank you.